You don't look like you just wake up at 5 a.m. and to read.
Woke up at 3:45
Why?
because this sometimes this takes an hour. I need the full hour.
You're still faster than me. I need two.
Wow.
Yeah. You must love it that much for you to wake up at 3:30. I mean, what to
Yeah.
say?
I don't. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have. In the moment, I don't mind depriving myself, and then usually later in the day, I'm like wanting a nap, but I'm very tolerant to sleep disturbances in the night.
You're used to it.
Yes.
Well, since we both don't have any other time in a day for this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the part too. It's like it is what it is.
Yeah, I
And
love
I
it.
enjoy it. I enjoy our mornings.
Same. Oh, thank God we have them. We just realized this yesterday. It's like, wow. And thank God we have something to anchor into too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
So, how was this one for you? Seeing the past as a dream.
This one was fun and funny and at times challenging. Um, yeah, there's a lot here. I was like laughing out loud at a couple points. But
Yeah. On what exactly?
oh, man. I think it wasn't the first technique, but maybe the second where I was laughing, and I think we'll get to it. Um,
Hmm.
just initial off the bat, I found this quite interesting because this is mirrored in the Gnostic teaching, which is like this technique of, and I don't know if the Gnostics knew about the Tantra and then you just pulled it in as a technique or what, but this was something that's where I learned it from, and then I was practicing, and it's a technique to elicit lucid dreaming.
Mm,
And at the end of this section, he said something like, "Yeah, if you do this correctly, if you do this enough, you won't need to dream anymore." And I'm like,
mm,
"So we're on the same page." Um, Now and then I'm like contemplating in my heart, like, do I want to do this? Or I think what comes up for me is I pack my day so full, and then to have an activity that is meditative or just meditating itself feels like an emptying, and so the temptation is there to avoid it or to not do it.
mm,
um but yeah, like going backwards through your day. And when I originally heard it, I was like, what's different from going backwards than going forwards?
mhm,
The hardest thing is actually, like, in my experience, was remembering the sequence of events correctly. Because my mind, I'm like, okay, go backwards. I'm like, I just brushed my teeth. I gave the kids a kiss. You start to do that, and then at some point, your mind will just leap to like, this happened at lunchtime, and I'm like, hold on, we just skipped a bunch. Come
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah. Same.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So
Hmm.
how similar it is to the technique of lucid dreaming that you were saying? Is it the same? Is it backwards? That's the technique?
Well, I guess the emphasis is different. So the emphasis with when I learned it through not the Gnostic teaching is do this so that you can have lucid dreams, so you can be more aware. And
Ah,
the practice itself is just to increase your awareness. Same initial objective, like, oh, if you can do this in the night, then you'll be in you'll start to develop that separateness to become the watcher, and then you'll be in the day and someone will make you mad, and then you'll just be like, wait a second, this is the same thing as like work,
Mm,
if I can separate and see it as a memory, as a past, then I should be able to do this in the day.
mm,
Um, the part that had me laughing during this is I had two instances in the last 2 days where someone came to me and just like emotionally just like volcanoed, and I'm like laughing because with this one woman, I just find neutrality so quickly, even though it was directed at me, like you made a mistake, you messed up, and I'm just like, it's in the past. And I was so detached that it was making her uncomfortable because she couldn't feel that I was owning up to it, or that
mm,
I was like actually understanding where she's at. And I had to like it she just kept hammering it, and I'm like, okay, I think in order to have a resolution, I need to like match her emotion, energy somewhat. I need to like dive in a little bit to meet her there, and then we can maybe rise up together. And it was not easy for me. It was uncomfortable
mhm.
because I like the neutrality, and I I think it's from doing these talks with you, with Jinkies and with OSHO, and then, you know, some other practices, but it's easy for me to say that, oh, like I did that a week ago. I'm like, you can't hold me to it. Like, I'm sorry, but
Mm,
sorry for what was done, but it's in the past. Like, let's move forward. And for what I noticed with this person was it was challenging for her to she couldn't imagine how quickly someone could become detached from the past. And it's like, in order to navigate in the world, there's this saying like, um, be in the world but not of the world. And I'm so separate right now in a lot of ways that it's hard for me to even get in the world, like get into like where people are. So that had me laughing a little bit. Laughing laughing at the absurdity of it, but also laughing at myself for like not not being willing to see it. And almost I'm like, what would a mystic do? Like Osho wouldn't be like, okay, I'm gonna appease your emotions here. He would just be like, in a way, I think this is my imagining. I think he'd be like, you know, fuck off. Like he wouldn't direct it toward her, but his energy would be like, that's done, and you're projecting, and so we're just neutral. We're here. How can we move forward? Yeah, it was interesting,
mm.
complex for sure. And like
Well,
I texted to you, it's like fire and water just like clashing. And sometimes there's fire in the water. Like there's so much emotion, but it's like it's like boiling at the surface. It's simmering, it's boiling.
mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's gonna it's gonna get more
Yeah.
interesting. But we can there's so much to unpack here, and I wanna try to okay. I was thinking about the same exact thing yesterday. Why, when we identify with something, and he speaks about this in the first one, the moment we identify with that it's happening is the moment we start suffering.
Yeah.
And in the case of this woman, what would that want? What would that moment need in order to de-escalate? Almost in order to regulate, not de-escalate, regulate. And it's a simple acknowledgement. Most of the time it's just a simple acknowledgement of the pain that it's occurring because the individual can't see the identification. And if someone outside can, I think what does help regulate the mind is to be acknowledged. And I want to tie it back to one of these techniques where he says, your mind is going to continue dreaming because it's
Mm-hmm.
seeking that, to own that, to that ownership, in a sense that acknowledgement, completion, it is constantly running. And if you didn't complete or have that during the day, it will continue running into the dreams. So you really cannot rest. And in this case, the woman couldn't rest the mind because the mind seeked something and she just identified with it so much. And it's such a powerful force. So the other day I was thinking, I was like, what would I need when I am enraged or angry or identified with that it's occurring in a moment? And there's no, you said like the awareness has to grow, and that click of a gap that he always talks about is like, it's really hard to, it's hard, difficult to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And how can we help if we are ourselves regulated, right? And okay, that's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one, if she would to come in front of Buddha, how Asha says it,
Buddha.
Buddha, yeah, yeah. Um, if she would to stand in front of Buddha or Osho, she would, Buddha, let's talk Buddha. I think Osho has um, a triggering
Yeah, yeah.
penetration that will enrage you even more with that silence. But if you were to be approached by someone who radiates love, who is witnessing life like Buddha would, that you were the armor right away. The love itself will, the armor, the anger.
Mm-hmm.
And I find that so beautiful because we are in the midst, we're not yet there under the tree being enlightened, right? So we're constantly getting faced with this trials. So we actually switch roles all the time in life. I'm calm now, and then I get enraged. And
Mm-hmm.
literally, as the life comes in and is presented to us, we automatically react to it one or the other way. And 99% of the time is on automatic, unconscious, already so well programmed that we totally lose the sense of awareness to what is happening. So I was thinking that exact thing. It's like, what would take me to stop hating on, stop getting angry on the other person? Simple acknowledgement sometimes. I
Yeah.
I would think, yeah.
Yeah. So you get acknowledged and then what?
It's so in Vita, okay, in coaching too,
Mm-hmm.
you want you want your client to take the power back, even if the rage is sent at you for being whatever. So you want your client to take care. So you're trying to find, as you're witnessing what is happening, you're totally detached from the occurrence in someone's mind, and you're trying to find these gaps where they realize that that power is back to them. So that you're trying to open that gap of awareness to them to realize that what is driving their vehicle at the moment, and can they separate from it. So you're very much looking to see if this, not dissociation, but rather than the departure of that in the mind of identification can occur. And often when you receive the blame, it's not that you did something wrong, rather than that they're getting wrapped into that
Mm-hmm.
vortex of identification. So there's only one, there's not two separate things. So you really want to just get in to see what can help them see what is happening and almost detached from the entire situation. So often it is acknowledging, especially when you're working with someone who has a lot of reactive nature, or not anger, but rather than trauma. This is trauma speaking, right? It's not them, but they
Mm.
identify with it. And the trauma from the past comes in and operates in the present. As he said, the mind doesn't see the difference between the dream and reality.
Mhm.
So when acknowledgement happens, it's like something stops as you feel seen, as that which you identify stops, and it regulates you. When you are regulated, only then you can detach.
Yeah.
You can't detach when you are in active processing. You have to first regulate. So you're looking for the gaps to regulate, and regulation comes in with acknowledgement and
Mm.
like almost remorseful acknowledgement of owning yourself and owning that. It is hard to go through that trauma again, and that simple compassion does help
Mhm.
wonders. And
Mhm.
also, I'm sorry. I am truly, truly sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, there's because there can be surface acknowledgement, I think, and that's what I was offering in the beginning. Um, which is easy for me to do. It's easy to touch that. And what she needed was much deeper emotional acknowledgement. Like,
Yeah.
can you mirror where I'm at? And I'm like, I kept working around it and then realizing at some point, I'm like, oh, she needs emotional acknowledgement. She's not able to get it anywhere else. So she's an 83-year-old woman. She doesn't really have someone to, she's alone, so she doesn't have someone
Yeah.
to do that with. And I'm like recognizing it and, okay, can I offer it without losing my own stability? Like, because I don't want to become destabilized. And I was able to. And it's interesting because so she was very mad at Carly and I for something that we did, and we acknowledged it and moved forward. And she came over the next day, and she randomly was like, "Oh yeah, my I don't remember the context. Oh, we're talking about control and letting go because that kept coming up for me. I'm like, I made a mistake. It's in the past. I have to let go and move forward. Like we have to let go. And me saying it wasn't clicking for her, but once I emotionally met her, I think it started to settle in, maybe subconsciously. But
Mm-hmm.
that following day, she came over and she was like, "Well, my mom was a single mom with 10 kids, so she did what she had to, and she made it work." And I was like, "Oh yeah, like what did that look like?" She's like, "A lot of control." And I'm like, "Okay, I understand now. You are the product of a very controlling system, and you're trying to control your own world. And astrologically speaking, like that's very hard to do right now. So it doesn't matter what context you're in." And she was getting thrown at left and right, like all these events stacking up in her life that are asking her to let go and to trust. And it's hard to do. It's like probably the hardest time right now for a lot of people to return to that. Um, and it's a gift to have someone to help you feel this sense of acknowledgement so that you can move past it. Yeah. Much harder to
Yeah.
do by yourself.
Yes. Because you feel less alone,
Mm-hmm.
especially if your emotional states are acknowledged. And you remember in one of his techniques, he goes, center is here and center is here. And to get to the navel and the being, you have to pass through the feeling. And a lot of it is here. And very rarely do we go down into the experience of emotional experience of what is. So to make you feel, because you don't know what to do with it. It's frightening, especially at that age. I love that he outlined that in that age, the older
Mm.
age you get, your future is ending and you're so afraid to look at it. So you often go back into the past.
Mm.
And I've seen this being done with my grandparents and even with my mom now. So my mom is 70, and it's not extending her future, but she's really such a fighter into living in a moment without, but the timeline is shrinking slowly and she's aware, conscious, not conscious. And it helps to go back and revisit the past,
Yeah.
to them and acknowledge the past, acknowledge a lot of things, acknowledge. And I think, yeah, you're right. They need a companion to do this with.
Yeah. Hmm. And he touched on that too, like this random recall. People in old age tend to go back randomly, or they work from back to forward, or they'll tell stories in like a linear fashion from the beginning to the end. And the usefulness and the technique,
Hmm.
he said, of laying on the beach for a week and working back through your whole life. And I've so when I learned this in Gnosticism, it was like start with the day. You'll get good at the day. Once your day becomes clear, you'll start to be able to do it quickly. And the other thing is like a big part of not the Gnostic teaching is sleep hygiene. Sleep
Hmm.
hygiene is like getting to bed on time, like your room is set up, you're able to sleep in, like it's dark, it's quiet, like getting more sleep. The hardest part about this is I'm doing this with like a
3 children.
newborn and little kids, yeah. And even now I'm like they still wake me up. So there's an element of when I read something, I'm like there's like the must be nice, but there's also just like I think it's going to happen when when it's meant to. It's going to be possible when it makes sense. And I'm learning something in parenting that can't be learned through techniques. Um, and when the time comes, it'll be ripe for the picking, right? It'll just fall from the tree. Um, but
Yeah.
the technique was taught like progressively. You'll begin to move back through your life, and then the way they described it is that'll happen on its own. Like you'll just start to do it, and then eventually you'll kind of unpack your whole life. Very interesting, and I definitely have a bit of skepticism around y- like you can just recall your day and then you can recall your life and then you're not going to dream anymore, or you're going to be cured of your psychological conditionings, like you won't have this implicit desire to dream in the night. I'm just skeptical of it. I think maybe that's the
Yeah.
Piscean, like don't discard the dreams because there's yeah, I don't know.
So I'll give a different perspective on it. I tried it, and this is my first time actually trying it
Mm.
this morning. And I tried to retract the entire day yesterday because I was so bothered. I worked until 10 p.m. last night. And so my
Oh
mind
my
was
gosh.
racing.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, I have to wake up early in the morning. And I already had, and I couldn't go to bed. So I was like, no, I have to shower, have to set the
Yeah.
bed. So right around midnight, I went to bed. On
Wow.
the night before, I went to bed also late and couldn't fall asleep until 2, 3 a.m. I was tossing and turning, and I was like,
Mm.
what is happening? So I was trying to find a technique to die again. None of it worked. None of it worked. I was really struggling, but I was struggling because my mind was struggling. My mind
Mm-hmm.
wasn't complete. And it carried over and it carried over to yesterday's day. And I was agitated. I was edgy. I'm at work. I have a noise cancellation
Mm-hmm.
headsets. So I totally cancel everybody out, especially if I have due
Yeah.
timelines for yesterday and I'm still working on it. It's like, it's very edgy.
Is it open floor plan or do you have like a pod?
It's huge, massive floor, open. Yeah, there's no pad.
It's
Everybody
open.
sits anywhere. Yeah.
It's so chaotic to me, but
Yeah. And so a friend of mine comes in and says, "Hello, Amiga." And I was like, "Yes." And I just turned around and I was like, "Yes, hi."
yeah.
But, and he started laughing because it was so funny. And he saw my like face of being so centered into the
Mm-hmm.
numbers and getting, because it was a chaos that you have to make sense of. It's
Mm-hmm.
my job is chaotic, actually. I always have to make sense of it. And he started laughing and he literally interrupted my pattern. And I started laughing. I took my headsets on and we started laughing out loud of my ridiculous reaction because I was totally in a different world. I wasn't even me.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, wow, that got you really bad. But it carried over. And what I wanted to say, it carried over because mind, for whatever reason, external factors, internal factors. There's so many factors around us that are actually affecting the mind to try to reach somewhere, something, to do something, to conquer something, to get frightened by something, to always something, something. And I think when we get into that vortex of energy, the mind really picks up real fast. Speed picks up the weight, lots of weight, and it carries through the dreams. So I couldn't sleep. And I thought my life is great. I thought it's great. Like, you know, I have basic needs met. I'm fine. Nobody's threatening me. I'm healthy. It's like when you really do the map, it's fine. But something in the mind, in psychology, is not leaving you alone. So I
Yeah.
couldn't sleep. So to try this technique and go backwards into this just a day, but in reverse order, I
Hmm.
literally observed myself as a movie, as he explained, and I
Hmm.
loved it.
Hmm.
I found it, oh, I want to continue because I found this reversal not from the beginning until the end of the day, but rather than counterclockwise, like countering everything that happens. I was able to map a quite a large chunk of the day, but I also noticed that I mapped it from far away. So I was watching myself going backwards,
Yeah.
doing the going backwards, going, taking shower, driving in the parking lot, driving to the work, going back, like, but I saw myself so far away. And this reminded me in Vipassana, this is how I was aware that my awareness is coming closer to me rather
Mm.
than being there. So when I would meditate, I would see myself meditate in front of me, and that uh, that came closer and closer until I became my own awareness from
Hmm.
here, looking at it from behind the eyes. And I found that fascinating. So I'm gonna actually try to do this. I really, really like this technique. And I also want to say something. Sorry,
Yeah.
podcast, a little
Please.
podcast. I I found that it was true that as I reversed my day backwards, weight of the day lifted.
Hmm.
I and I went back to the meeting in which I didn't feel comfortable. And then I came into the same room, said the same thing, said the thing, not in a reversed way, but said the thing and then observed my behavior on
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
And that I think was a click. So I stopped there because I realized that, wow, it is the
This
story, it's the
disturbance.
movie. It's the movie and it's no longer there. So I think it's this technique is really, really cool to do at
Hmm.
night before the bed, as he said. So I'll try that at night.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think of it like you were disturbed in that meeting. Something happened and you were disturbed. And so it's like a stone, like you have your the this gosh, what's the center called? Solar plexus.
Neva. Mm.
It's yeah, I've heard it described as like your waters, your emotional. It's like a still lake when you're good. It's a still lake and the water is blue. And you have some disturbance. It could be like a poison or someone said something that was unsettling or you yourself felt an emotion. And I imagine like a stone in the disturbance was dropped in the lake and it's rippling out. And the ripples themselves are unresolved. They don't resolve on the banks. They just keep cycling around. So like you're going backwards. You're almost like taking each little wave back to the center and then you're like, oh, there's the stone that
Uh-huh.
caused it and you're able to pull the stone out. Um and then in more severe cases, it's like, why is this why is this lake boiling and green and smell like sulfur, and then you can unpack that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's cool. And I'm remembering like how useful of a technique it is because you find these nuanced moments that you thought you had awareness of. Like I know I cooked dinner, and then you're like, wait, but I cooked dinner and I didn't have all the ingredients, and I bashed my foot on the door, and then I was like, my shoulders were up to my ears, and then I snapped at my kid, and they're like, oh, forgot about that part. I thought I had the whole thing mapped out, but yeah, very
Yeah.
interesting.
And it also makes you realize how much input. the mind takes in.
It's insane. Yeah. It is insane how much information we are exposed to. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
The eyes, the smell, the ears, the taste. It's like total input, 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 non-stop, input, input, non-stop. And it
Hmm.
comes through these openings, as he said. You close the openings. And also, you remember how we were doing the breath work to close the openings? So he said how he explained that all the consciousness stays inside, it's centered in.
Yeah.
It's not actually exchanged with the environment, constantly shared in and out, give and take.
Hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if we don't have the input, will we even be aware that we are conscious beings, right? Because you know how if you trap the consciousness inside this vehicle and there's no exit for it, you really and you stop breathing at the same time because this is also an exit.
Hmm.
You're
Yeah.
no more. You are gone. There's nothing.
Yeah. And it's like, well, imagine if Helen Keller also couldn't smell, and then at some point later in life, she lost her ability to touch. I think there would just be there'd be no association at that point. She wouldn't feel any sense of aliveness. So
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, what else is there? I mean, that is life. That is our life. I have a friend who,
Yeah.
him and his wife are dealing with this emotional awareness of, he's got this degenerative eye genetic disease, and he's slowly going blind. Like it's inevitable that he will be blind at some point.
Wow.
Um, and we can hope and pray that there is like some technological healthcare advance that will help him, but they're they're just staying present in the emotional aspect of like the realization itself and processing it. And um it came to me when I was just helping her work through it, like, there is some silver lining here, because when you lose a sense, you heighten the others, and you potentially open up a doorway to things unseen that are gifts. Like what happens after adaptation to trauma? Like we develop some spiritual gifts, and that kind of could be the same thing. Yeah, I'm just contemplating because you were talking about senses, and it is
Yeah.
interesting. What happens? So like, I wonder. Do you ever wonder, like Helen Keller, what were her dreams like? Like, how did she dream? Did she imagine faces and characters and voices, or was it like a sensory field? Or I think I don't know. Pretty fascinating.
And in the actual reality and psychology and like there's a lot of people that cannot have they don't have a sense of imagination. It's very hard for them to
Yeah.
sense or recall the senses. And I think it's like it's a thing. It's there's a name in psychology called it. I forgot what the name is, but it's very hard to imagine inner states
Hmm.
and imagine any other world
You
that
mean a
it's not
Capricorn?
like yeah. I mean, I can think of yeah, the ones that I know, that's true. My grandpa's Capricorn. But it's very hard for them to imagine a different world, a parallel world that lives inside of them. It simply doesn't exist. It's hard for them to even grasp that that is possible.
Hmm.
So for poets and artists, and he's saying it's like it's the reversal of the past is easy because they always live in the futuristic, fantastical, different parallel world full of imagination. Because lucky us. Now what?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So she's probably having a parallel world on her own that she's living in. Another
Yeah.
dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes me always like this week. It's like we are so fragile as humans, so fragile.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
had a really scary occurring dream again, tsunami. And I don't know, did I tell you about tsunamis?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're still happening, and this one was frightening.
Mm.
And then I woke up and then I wrote about it. Like I wrote pages and pages about it. It was so, we were on a hill and cliffs left and right. We, meaning me and some strangers. And there's one house and there's this like a little the playground area for children, which are
Mm.
these like things that you can just hook or a mini little gym where you can just hang on and move through. And the waves, Eric, oh my God, the waves dark, like your t-shirt, right? So dark, dark blue, just rising like this is as a giant, as a god on all sides. So you're literally going and looking into the giants rising and it's just about to eat us all alive. And tiny little house on a hill to be eaten alive. And I'm literally watching, measuring everything in the dreams. Like, and I, somewhere there inside of me, my I still had a sense I will make it.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere there, and I was aware of it, profoundly aware. I'm watching people in panic and agony. I'm watching some totally frozen and not knowing what to do. Some totally like almost like delusional that the waves is about to come and get us like this, right? And we were tiny little speck of the entire thing. I was able to almost measure how big that is
Mm-hmm.
compared to me, how little chance I have in this massive wave. And then I was able to compute, okay, I'll take my little mini Congo, which is like it's a bongo, like a whatever
Drum.
drum, yes. And I would hold it. And then I computed in my head because it's empty inside, it will pull me all the way back up to the surface. And I will do this and I'm good to go. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere there, I knew I will make it. And then the waves disappeared. And then something in a form. But what I'm saying is that it was so vivid that I, in the dream, realized how tiny and fragile and really um, breakable we are.
Vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, breakable. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Vulnerable to life, yes.
Yeah.
Vulnerable to
Fragile.
everything around us.
So at the moment that you felt that everything would be okay, the waves disappeared.
I knew entire time that I will make it, but I felt the fear inside of me. So two were happening at the same time,
Yeah.
and as if I didn't have any other option than to make it. There was no option. There was no giving up as an option. So this
Mm-hmm.
probably is part of my subconscious saying, "No, you're gonna figure it out." And
Mm-hmm.
every single bits of me calculates how much time I have left in order to figure out how to survive, how to
Mm-hmm.
take the breath, calculate literally the wave is coming closer, going over, and the wave is happening in slow motion and fast. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of the differences between how tiny I am compared to this giant
Yeah.
God that is coming to get me. This
Mm-hmm.
was really frightening. And yet I was fine. So two of me lived in one me. Very, very usually because recently they've been really far away from me, far on the horizon. I just
Mm-hmm.
watch, but now they're coming closer and closer. So, right. And again, it's like last time I had one was in September. And I was like, this is weird. Like I had them all my life again and again. And every single one I consciously remember vividly. Like
Yeah.
I've lived it.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Well, Uranus is direct.
Hmm.
Saturn is finishing out. I think that's pretty strong energy there. Um, and
Yeah.
what is the ocean? What are the waters they represent? Like the mother, the Shakti, the purveyor of all, like the holder. and there's um there's like a reflection happening, I think, around surrender and letting go. And there's a little bit of like be smart, have a plan, like, but it was so simple. It was like I have a drum, I'm gonna hold it. It wasn't like I'm gonna build a raft. I have to gather all these people. We're gonna get the helicopter. We're gonna go. It was just like very simple. Like there's one thing, I'm gonna grab it, and you had this inner knowing like you're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And for some reason,
And
when you go ahead, yeah.
no, no, go ahead.
When you were describing, I was thinking of there's a children's Japanese movie. It's called Ponyo, and like you watch this movie and you're engrossed in the story, but I reflect on it because I've seen it enough times to like notice different things each time. But the entire movie is like this storm that's building and building and building, and these waves are like massive, and he's just trying to find his mom and navigate through that. And he's very very brave in how he's doing it, but he tends to have this like the characters in the story, the ones that panic or the ones that are afraid or the ones that freak out are submerged in water and everything is gone. And then at the end of like the storm, his house is the only one that's left on this like island. It's like the
Hmm.
highest point. And um yeah, just interesting parallels there.
Yeah. What's also fascinating is that I am acutely aware in the dream that this is dream. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm experiencing it as it's real, but I also know that it's dream. And this is how I figured that in this one, because there were waves coming from both sides. And then at some point I just looked up and I was like, they're gonna meet and they're gonna cancel each other. And
Mm.
I've seen this in a movie in reality.
Yeah.
And I was like, I recalled the memory. So this is where the mind doesn't know the difference between dreaming and reality. And I love how he pointed out in this too. It's like it doesn't know what is what. It doesn't know that it's past, that it's present. It doesn't actually differentiate. It's all mixed up mumbo jumbo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, I was observing how I would observe in this day-to-day life sometimes most of the time people reaction. I'm fascinated by how people react in life. So I was in the dream observing and how they held into the metal poles and this pole of the children's, playground. They
Mm.
will hold underneath it and they would grip on it. And I try to find the place so I can at least stay in this little mini metal cave while the wave is coming in and tossing you and spinning you around in the water. And I couldn't find any place because all were taken. And I was like, wow, I'm totally exposed.
Mm.
And that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. But yeah, so
Interesting though,
cool.
because if you if you're holding onto a pole that's attached to the ground, like they're not gonna make it out. They're gonna drown.
Yeah. And the tendency went for that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
My tendency went to that, what I've seen as an input that everybody else is doing. And then I was left, if you really allow life to happen, you would have your own path, in a sense, rather than if there's no seat left at the table to, what are you gonna do? You're gonna sit. There's no seat to sit. You're just gonna do your thing, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna give up on the seat, and something else will happen. It will occur. You'll either stand or sit down on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very interesting. The mind is
Mm.
so interesting to me. Though
Yeah.
I often speak against it, but not against it, actually, it's there. It will never, but I think that integration that occurs, it's like, okay, well, this is me as well. This is me as well. And not reacting to it, yeah, helps
Mm.
as much as possible.
Yeah. And I'm grateful for the gift of this beach that we go to because it's like a very intense shore break and you can get hurt, but like in the years that we've been here. We've gone many times, and you start to learn it. But the there's people so when the one of the first times I went, there was this woman who's naked, and she's just laying there, and she lets the wave crash her onto the beach, and then she just keeps laying there, and then the water would pull her down into the waves, and then it spits her back out, and she's just laying there. And before that, I was like, yeah, you have to like prepare yourself, and you have to like be ready, and you have to like jump over it or under it. And she proved like one of the safest things you can do. I mean, there's other things you can do, and there's a little bit of body awareness, like knowing to turn at a certain point or to roll with it. Um, but just to let go and just let it do its thing. Obviously, you don't really want to do that when it's like 20 foot breaking waves, but um, there's a lesson in there as well. And tourists
Yeah.
have the hardest time getting in because it's like, oh, it's only up to my belly button or my waist, and they maybe associate that this is familiar to something that they've experienced on the mainland. And they go to get in, and it's just completely different, like how it pulls you in and where it breaks at. And then, okay, you get through the first set and you think you're good. And then all of a sudden, there's a gap, and then you see this thing above your head. You're like, I thought this was only at my waist. And it's like, well, there's the trough too, and you have to account for all these factors. And also, I've seen it a number of times where the ocean is calm. It's like 2 to 3 feet. Tourists go to get in, and then all of a sudden this set comes in that's 4 to 5, yeah, or 6 feet, and she's
Guilty.
welcoming you in. She's like, we're gonna get rid of your makeup and your
Yeah,
and your sunglasses and your sunscreen.
totally. I was pounded. Big deal in front of a bunch of people in Costa Rica 2, 3 days. I could never remember. I was shocked that I survived, and I also
Yeah,
was so embarrassed by this because everybody obviously knew other than me.
yeah,
That's a good lesson, nature lesson. Nature will teach you.
yeah, yeah,
Your
yeah.
ignorance will be wiped off real fast.
Hmm. Good.
Mm,
So you have one now. 22 techniques, and now you have one. You're gonna try.
I like this one. I tried it this morning, and I'm going to continue trying it. I think that's a good way to empty the mind for the day. And I
Hmm.
love that he said, don't do it the wrong way. Don't start from at
Yeah.
night from the start, go backwards. That simple twist does the. I
Hmm.
don't know how far back I can go. And it's true in a lot of these psychological books that we learned in coaching was that at some point you cannot recollect your memories. They become subconscious. So in these three books, which is the codependency and intimacy
Yeah.
from Pam Melody, I think. Pia Melody, from Pia Melody, she does talk about 0 to 5, how it's repressed into the subconscious majority of the memories because you're trying, as a child, you're very much, uh, this is your developmental age. And if it's not loving and caring, then you are going to be suppressing it into the subconscious, which becomes then harder to retrieve later on.
Mm. But not impossible.
Not impossible. Just takes an effort. Go do
Yeah.
it.
And yeah. What are your thoughts on having memories of in vitro and then past life?
I think that would be so cool to do.
Is it because I have this like balance of the temptation of it and then also like deep skepticism. I'm like, come on. How much are we just imagining? I don't know. But I've heard from Diane, who we had on for 20, when
Mm.
I brought up like I feel like I'm just making stuff up, imagining it. and she said something to the effect of, well, this is actually reality, is your participation in the imagining. So it was like not to discredit what's false from true, that there's a hard line there, but that in the effort of exploration and the desire to know, you'll receive the information that will serve you best. Um,
Mm,
and
that's beautiful.
I think as a technique of awareness, if you're truly approaching it from just gaining awareness of your day and not rushing to get like past life regression, memory, whatever, that has a different quality than, um, because I don't know if you've heard this in spiritual communities, but I've heard people say like, "Oh, I was this in my past life, so that's why I'm this way." And I'm like, sounds kind of like you're attached to it, like the fantasy of, "Oh, I was a warrior, or I was killed, or I was like," it's just more attachments. So there's
True.
that's part of my skepticism, but I also recognize maybe I'm skeptical as a safety mechanism because I'm jealous that people can access it, that I'm like,
Wow.
of course I would want to know, of course I would want to experience it, of course I would want to lucid dream or to astral travel. So I think the skepticism for me comes in to kind of like protect and then just deny that any of it is real or possible. So I'm
Mm.
be- becoming aware, of that.
And you're also acknowledging your parts, you see. So you become
Mm.
aware, you become skeptical, you push away what you don't want to deal with. This moment, this occurrence is, if you can grab it to sit with that, I love that he explains also the love and the hate when we go towards someone, which is actually
Yeah.
what you're saying. It's like, ah, my skepticism is just the protection for something that I really have to take an effort and time to sit and dig, dig out. And have you ever done that? Like, did you get curious about where is jealousy coming from? It is really jealousy. And I find it the first thought and the second definition is actually never true. If you
Yeah,
start
yeah.
digging in, it's always something else.
Yeah, well, it's the I mean, I can do it right now. It's like fear of being left out, like fear of having my desires be unfulfilled. And isn't it so it's like the mind says it's safer to deny the desire itself.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. And desire for what?
Ah, for like a touch of fantasy. It's like a desire for like the the boundaries of what's possible, what's been recorded by mystics and sages. It's like, of course I want to experience that.
And what is
Please.
that?
You just want like specifics?
Yeah. I guess because,
Um, yeah, like astral travel would be one, lucid dreaming, um,
and what would that give you? What does
fun,
that feel like?
entertainment.
And how does fun feel?
Um, what would that feel like? Hmm.
Astral travel.
Oh, just very freeing, like freedom,
And how does that feel?
blissful,
And what do you get from the bliss?
pleasure.
And where is it?
Mm, like root
Mm,
chakra.
mm,
Just like, yeah, the feeling of being, because there's a, ever since I've imagined it, I'm like, I'm gonna fly over the mountain. I'm gonna fly over the cities. I'm gonna go to the stars and just like not being not being rooted in fear, really. And there's two times in one in dreaming and then one after I woke up when I was like, oh shit, it's happening. I think I've told you this before. But the first time I woke up, it was like 2 in the morning. And I woke up with the sensations of intense vibration and then this increasing pitch in my ears, like, and then it was a sensation like I'm gonna pop, and it was like rising, 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 and then I started to feel apprehension and nervousness and excitement,
Yeah.
and then I remember I'm like, oh, it's happening, and then in the at some point in like the anticipation of it, it just like died and like flatlined. And I was like, oh, so I can't get excited about it. I just made up a rule. It's because like I don't know who to talk to about this stuff. I
Mm.
don't have someone like teach me, you know. But I would imagine like if this is about having still waters, then you're in the excitement and the anticipation. It's like I'm grasping, right? I get the desire, it's coming and I grasp, and when I grasp, it it leaves me. It's something I need to be like very, yeah. So there's that. And then the other time was in a dream, and I was in my childhood home in the second story. And I remember looking out the window and seeing the moon and the stars, and then just pushing through the wall. And I was flying above my property that I grew up on. And then I started to get really, really excited. And then I felt the sensation that I fell. And I woke up and was like, oh no, so
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
those are
love
the,
that.
yeah.
But this is the experience of bliss or free fall or freedom. I think the beingness, and I'm gonna go back to what we were just taking steps
Yeah.
away from the jealousy in order to
Yeah.
experience the bliss. It's actually, do you see the difference? It's like it had nothing to do with
It's
them
not about other
saying
people. Yeah.
they're lucid dreaming. It's actually has to do with the uh, this urge or a allurement towards a free fall of just being nothing. It sounds like nothing. So, what do you get when you have the excitement of it? What you get? Nothing. Actually, really nothing. I had my dreams where I flew. I made my own wings many times and I flew like a bird. Can you believe this? An
Good for
exact same.
you. Yeah, I did that one time. It was,
So good.
yeah. See,
But the
it's good.
excitement,
See, there's
what?
something you get from it. It's like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, like you said, the moment I become aware that I am flying is the moment I drop down into the reality.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think the awareness that this is happening is good for this life. Yet in the dream state is like if you can extend bliss or it can extend the state of not being aware. I'm wrapping my mind around it.
Yeah.
But yeah, as
Yeah.
if
Go ahead.
we're practicing the mind to become aware, just so that way we can lose all the awareness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I sense the paradox in it, and the interesting thing is when I came away from those experiences and I said, okay, this is about letting go, then I let go of the techniques altogether. I stopped meditating as intensely. Like I was doing like an hour of chanting every night, um, under the moon and like doing different things. And I was like, okay, this is about letting go and being being chill with whatever is. And so there's a, yeah, I don't know what comes out of that other than I could say that if I'm looking back at um, that picture of who I was in that moment and comparing it to now, my ability to be present is more alive now. Like I feel more fulfilled with life. And I remember back then it was like that's all I wanted to talk about. That's all I was reading about. That's what I was focused on. It was like, it was, I'm dissatisfied until this happens and I'm going to work to make it happen. And until it happens, I'm going to be naturally dissatisfied, thinking that I'm making progress towards a goal. So, yeah, as you said, wrapping the mind around, the mind gets tangled. We make knots.
Totally. Because the bliss itself is very addictive.
Yeah, I like the word you said, alluring. It's very alluring.
Yeah, something deeply is alluring us deep. And I think how I understand the allurement is the a life itself, continuation of life itself, of existence, actually. Allurement to exist, to
Yeah.
continue not meant, see, lack of words.
Yeah. Yeah, well, if I play it out, I have this like I'm tempted to tie it back to like, you know, Mars and Gemini or something of where I'm like, give me all of the experience. Like,
I
like
love-
why, and I'm sure this is true for most people, but like,
yeah.
why in sleeping can I not also have a life? And then can I sleep in that life and also have like, give me all of the fractals. Like, I want all of it. And
But when you say give me, you mean make me aware of them all.
yeah, like, however, like, I
Yeah,
don't know the mechanisms of how it happens. So
yeah, you want to register
just
all of there.
experience. Yeah.
And then mind becomes so selective because we register everything, yet we're not conscious of it. And when we try to go backwards, we can't even literally rewire,
Right.
rewind every single moment of the experience.
Yeah. So it's like, and I'm sure with you with Vita and dealing with like lust and love and these complex states, it's like you're so lost in expectation that you miss all of what's in front of you, which is like more than you can possibly digest. So it's like
Yes.
this is that's why I'm like, this has got to be some Mars energy or something because it's like I'm getting, you chase it out to the extent, and then all of this behind you is washed away, and you forget, it's like, well, we have experienced and we are experiencing, and it is endless and it is infinite, and this time and this body is, and to some extent, an illusion. To some extent, the solidity itself is a vessel for um it's a vessel for, what would I say, the fractalization to occur in accordance with perfect states of matter and energy and being. Like, it has to be the way it is, and it's like I get such a trap of going down this path and then wind up in my own seat, in my own body, hearing my own voice, looking at you, and here we are. And it's like, how often I think the gift of where I was and where I am now is uh being more readily willing to say, and here we are, and not just be okay with it, like, oh, like, existence is suffering. Let me be okay with it, but more so of saying, I'm not seeing the full picture, and that's part of the letting go is like, I'm not seeing the full picture, nor am I able to. Um, so let this warrior within take a breath, and then maybe he'll see what's right in front of him, that he's trying to conquest the entire universe. Yeah. Thoughts?
Many. Um, it sounds like you are becoming a witness of your own experience of life now compared to before, in which in the past you wanted, you craved, you fought, you targeted, everything was just very much um yours to take and yours to wish for
Yeah.
and full of desire to own and discover, actually. With
Yeah.
owning is discovering that that's not exactly what it is that you want, but you have to have something. And this is that drive, like you said, the Martian, almost like in 20s, you have so much energy to use and to conquer mountains and move them. And then with settled emotions and emotional states, and also the life experiences, you progress into understanding. Oh, um, yeah, I am different now. And I can see who I was before, and I can see what got me to this point. But even this, in sense, is also witnessing your past evolution, witnessing yourself in these moments, small little glimpses of it. So now you're like, oh, this part of me that is feeling is just a part of me. This part of
Mhm.
me that wants more is also just another part of me.
Yeah. Yeah. And being Aries rising, it's like this disillusionment around the desire being just a part, instead feeling like it's my whole being, and I must answer the call, lest I be destroyed. That's the feeling. Yeah.
Love it. And you also, okay, may I just say, because you also have moments in this podcast when you lost all your wants and desires and you just
Mm-hmm.
dissolved into your body. And underneath the skin, you were almost vibrating a different energy that was not like mine couldn't even reach, and why I say this is because it just happened to me earlier
Mm-hmm.
when I put my hand on my mouth. I was like, oh my God, it's occurring.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember the numbing of the hands?
Yeah.
2 days ago, I was going through the pictures, and on February 9th last year at this time, I was in a different apartment. And I literally have this clip. I'll send it to you when I said, oh my God, it's happening again.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm gonna cry. And you said, I'm crying too. And there's this small little clip that I never posted, but I was so aware because the numbing of the hands is that experience of beingness inside the body, how I understand it. And almost like you no longer, your mind is so gone that you no longer control the functions of your body. You become like loose, very loose.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even have a strength to lift my finger.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that happens when mind gets trapped and comes back into the same exact loop of trying, and then paradoxically confusing. And then it almost like as if it's a persona that just gives up on its own, for off itself, and no longer wants to go against itself. And it destroys itself. It destroys all the thoughts about that entire loop, the paradox, the duality of the mind. And then that moment occurs, and then you drop into the body because mind stops to circle and try to find, closes the loop. You drop into the body and you become the loose spaghetti. And it just occurred. So, what I'm saying, you did have moments when your mind and your Aries rising was not chasing anything to know, to experience. Rather, you literally dropped into the experience of what is.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done
Mm-hmm.
this over and over again on this podcast, over and over again.
Yeah. So it kind of feels like, in a way, we are unwinding. much like this technique in our podcast, we are unwinding. But what I'm noticing, how you handled me in that moment is like, um, and then like, and what feeling is that? And what does that give you? Like, you have to bring it to its edges and go there and just recalling the experience, I was I was feeling quite Martian in that way of like, oh, I remember how this feels and the temptation's there to go back into the techniques and start to do it again. And then in you intuitively knowing to recall these instances of dissolution, of like numbing and vibration and um otherworldly energy transmission, whatever you would call it. It's when the mind is very quiet.
Yeah. That's why you want to dig. And it's very hard to dig on alone. That's why
Yeah.
I think meditative states can also be the digging the layer, the layer, the layer. But then you have to split in two, the one that asks the questions and then the one that answers. And if you are into one with especially in this regulated state, there's nowhere you're one and all.
Mm-hmm.
An entire world is against you rather than slowly getting regulated and coming into the state of calm so you can see what is happening. You're splitting yourself into different roles. That's why
Mm-hmm.
it's much easier to do it with someone. So I really wanted to know what you experienced. So I didn't care about the person who enraged you, what I did, or who you got jealous on. But what I wanted to know is how did you feel? How did you feel? How was that experience? And invocation again invited you to come back to see if you can re-experience it again, which
Yeah.
brings the point is that never again will the moment of life be re-experienced the same way. It's all unique representation, and you bring fractals a lot. It's all unique fractal that will never be evoked again. It's irrevocable, it's unreplaceable,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
uncopyable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that leads me into this criticism of the technique itself, of recalling experiences and kind of unwinding them. Yeah, and I think I'm exploring this for myself. I don't want to project it onto you or anyone else, but I'm like, I'm just noticing, well, if that's the case, then why look back at all? Um, but I see the value in it, and I'm actually, yeah, I'm contemplating trying this out tonight and maybe giving
Mm.
it a few days to see what occurs.
But that's a really valid question. Why try when it's no longer here? Why waste time
Hmm.
when I know I have a limited amount of time and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to go back and
Yeah,
and I honestly think it's just the training of the mind. It is one part of how to train the mind to calm down,
right.
to to get reverse engineer your life that just happened yesterday is the practice for the mind to stop,
Yeah.
to cancel itself.
So it's funny because if you told me, basically, I had two introductions to this technique, and the OSHO one is like, okay, so that you can clear and unwind the mind so that you could sleep or like you don't have to dream. Then this other one is like, so you can astral travel. And I'm like, this is like a 99 and this is like a 2.
but
Yeah.
but what is astral travel? Visiting other planets? Is that what the mind
Oh
thinks it
yeah, I mean
is?
you can do anything. That's
But like what? Give
how it's sold. Like so you the way I understand it, and I'm not, you know,
have you done it?
no, I told you that two experiences I had where
Ah,
I felt that it was occurring, and when I've heard other people's experiences, the way they describe it is your astral body awakens out of your body. And it's not like a dream where you're like you think in a dream you think it's real, but when you recall a dream, you have this sense of like you don't have this like physicality, you don't have um this touch. But when people astral travel, body awakens out of them, they float in the room or whatever, they look back and their physical body is still there, sleeping or whatever. Then they go out into the world. They can go out into this world, which is real, and interact. And then there's an interaction on the astral as well as the physical. You can actually, um, so there's like, essentially, it's like, because I love fantasy, and as he talked about, young men love to live in the future. So the idea of like, oh, there's an entire world that is hidden to us. And if I could just do a couple things or work to open up this realm, it's like, why not? Why not do that? Um, oh, I lost your question. See, I get it.
I love it. And then what would that world give you? I guess. I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to,
So yeah, there's it's like, oh, you could meet with Jesus or Buddha or Osho in that world.
and then what are you gonna ask him? Sorry, I have to. I'm
I don't
not
know.
joking.
Could just be for me, like, what is it like to be next to them? What is it like? What would they say? I don't really have a question. Um,
Okay, and then what?
and then you can, like I'm like, I want to fly over Egypt. I want to fly over. It's like I just want to open it up. I don't have a strong desire anymore to physically go anywhere because I love where I'm at. But if I could float and go to the Pleiadian star system and see
This,
what it's like on an alien planet, I'm like, come on, like, please. Yeah.
and what I'm trying to get to is that if every occurrence in life, in existence, is a fractal, that it's irrevocable, how do you know that you're not astral traveling at the moment?
Mm,
Let me
because
rephrase. Uh-huh.
yeah, I would just say because I can't float and I can't launch myself into the stars and I can't go to Egypt with my body.
But it is the subtle body inside of you that can.
Yeah, so my understanding is like you're just developing awareness. In that awareness, there's like some awakening of this new form of experience. Um,
Mm.
yeah, there's also this feeling of like I should be able to, if it's possible, I should be able to. Like when, like what's, and then there's the fear. There's the fear of what if I die and I never do? Like what if I die and I can't? What does that mean? Like am I not advanced enough or am I not disciplined enough to do these techniques? Yeah.
Yeah. So these things that we want in life, right? And this actually helps me realize a lot of things. That's why I'm asking, because I would not know how to ask myself the same thing. So thank you. But these things that we want in life really have a big, thick mechanism. Before it even gets to us to answer all these questions, there's a mechanism in place. So we actually always stay on the surface when it comes to our desires. We cannot go deeper to understand why we want them and can I do them right now? Because on the surface, I'm now listening to someone else's story, which is again uniquely irrevocable. And I
Yeah.
think this is what I want. Right. So I stay there because I don't know how to get deep. And to get deeper, I have to go through all the automatic mechanism of protection that I'm really fighting against, or standing that I myself build up to protect myself from something that I actually don't even know is it occurring or not. So I I don't, you experienced in your own sense the astral travel of flying over the mountain where you had a specific sensation in the body. The question is it repeatable? Or is it something else that can occur once go and free fall through the mechanisms and wait, watch this. Allow the moment to occur to me. And all I have to do is just be aware and give it time, give it some space and time, and learn how to be in that's occurring rather than trying to control and invoke it every time.
Yeah, yeah. hmm Yeah, and that's where I'm currently at. You know, it's been 2 years since I've made any attempts or controlled the outcome or the inputs rather. And I recognize I'm like, hmm. So I might be going off on a tangent and you can bring me back in a little bit, but the the deep realization I made out of it was I think because I go back to the waters of the solar plexus and I'm like I think there's a purity that's required to like essentially there's almost like a gateway or um a division of sorts where if just like vibration like you won't match with people vibrationally. I think if um there's this world that exists, then there's some level of protection because they don't want just anyone and everyone to jump in and to start to move things around. And because it's like it is power. I think that's also a root of of the desire itself is like there's more power available to you if you can do these, if you can have this experience. You gain awareness, which brings you power, um, and you can also manipulate things on a deeper level. Um, and maybe even just having the capacity itself, you just feel more powerful. Like there's a desire there as well. But what I left it was like, okay, if this is about letting go, and every time I've gotten close, I got too excited. So let me just let go. And like if it takes 20 years or if it takes 50 years, doesn't matter. And if it doesn't happen in this life, also doesn't matter. Like it will occur when and if it's supposed to occur. I'm recognizing my own attachments and how strong I'm desiring this. And it's not like I'm recognizing it's taking me away from this experience of who I am now and what's right in front of me, which is so rich. And so I went back to that and it's been 2 years. Um, the other piece being my emotional states. Let me work on that. I let me have a calm lake and then, as Osho says, and then the occurrence, the realization, the actualization of who I am in this moment. And that's what, to me, like when we get to these states in a podcast, like that's what actually is occurring is like this deep sense of calm and peace. And the desire is nowhere to be found. Like I just don't have any desire at that point.
Mm, mm. Oh, I love it. Okay. So the practice of letting go is helping you open up a space to allow for life to happen. The practice of letting go is helping you open up a space
Yeah.
so life can drop in as it wants.
hmm
And you're just there, witnessing, ready, again and again and again, open, calm, allowing it to happen. And how often ridiculously, how often do we actually do the same exact thing? Allow space for life to happen and occur, and then see what drops, what drops.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mystery. Life is a mystery itself. Same as love. The death and love and
Yeah.
life and is
Eros.
a yeah, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
We will never be able to understand it. But what we can do, rather than think this is what I want, stop wanting, come back to allowing space and figure out how to.
Stop wanting. I'm teasing. Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, guilty all the time. It's like,
Yeah.
am I aware throughout the day how much I want what I don't have?
Mm.
And how much wanting that takes away from my being present to allow life to happen. I'm actually actively saying no to life to occur. If you really
Mm.
think about it,
Yeah.
because I want. Not only want, I have to, so
Mm-hmm.
many things. So, how often do we sit and allow life to show itself to us? Life, love, eros, experience,
Mm-hmm.
everything.
So sensing a deeper truth here, which is this desire is paradoxically this fear to experience all that is.
Which is very powerful.
And we see a linear path, and it actually that path closes off the rest of it. Whereas Eros is overwhelming, so that's why we seek in the first place.
Bliss, no?
Yeah.
Weights just lifted. So we are actually afraid of our own powers, is what you're saying.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. I see it more of the tsunami, is you're afraid to be immersed. We're afraid to be completely taken by something so much larger and stronger and yeah, and the beauty. So potentially a good transition because if we're talking about beauty, if we're talking about eros, the technique of feeling an object before you.
Wait, can we go back? What
Yeah,
happened? What just happened?
I feel this continuation into this technique because um, when I read it, I was like, I'm not getting it. Like I'm looking at stuff and I'm like,
Okay.
yeah. But if you want to
No.
remain, okay.
So, with this feeling that you have right now in your body,
Mm-hmm.
can you find an object and embrace it and feel it together? Can you integrate with that object that you're looking at? It can be a laptop, it can be my moving photo. Can you feel it underneath your skin? Can you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It just feels like there's hmm. hard to put into words. It's like there's less clutter. I don't know. It's everything is more direct. So when I look at you, it's just like clear. And there's, this is the mind, right? Yeah.
So the whole world falls apart, and I'm looking at your mic. And can I integrate the mic? Can I integrate this photo of you inside without identifying it to be a mic, Eric, a picture?
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I experience this. I do feel the wave underneath my skin, and often it comes from the hands. Maybe this is just if I'm focusing into that, which is in front of me, the whole world falls apart. This is not tuning into someone's energy, how I experience it, rather than being your whole attention comes tunnel vision into that. So now
Mm-hmm.
you have a direct contact with it, and you can do something with it. You can either keep it surface, see that that's a guitar. I did this with guitar this morning. That's a guitar, and I can first, second, I can see if I can enter inside the object and feel its vibration. And for me to do that, I have to invite it in.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, to me, I have to invite it in. So I feel this wave comes in, and it's somehow it happens underneath the skin. So, and I don't know how else to do it. Like in that moment, I want nothing from it. In that moment, it's not the guitar that I'm looking at or a coffee cup. In that moment, it's just part of me, right? Because I'm integrating in it. I am becoming one with it. So I
Mm-hmm.
only know how to do that when I invite it inside underneath my skin.
Mm-hmm.
So can I do that with the human being? Watch this, which I tested. It's harder to do with the human being. Why? Because I have ego with you. I don't have ego I don't, with guitar, who has no conscious. So my mind wants to battle that which finds equal in power. So to look at you, I have to very much remove myself as a persona. I have to dissolve and die everything that I know about myself in order to identify with that, which you also have, that has no identity.
Mm-hmm.
So, first, I have to detach here, enter into you. I have to look into your eyes and not see Eric, father, friend, history, memories, feelings, hurt, pain, trauma that I have, that you caused me, that
Yeah.
who knows when. All of this has to go in order for me to see you and absorb you. So now my head is chopped off my shoulders. Can I drop into the body and can I look into your body and absorb it in mine?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I feel the tuning in, intentional tuning in, that it's not natural because naturally it occurs in love anyway. You are gone. So that in front of you becomes love itself because you now don't even know what is happening, right? It's a mystery, mysterious fantasy world that is blissful by itself. But here I have a client in front of me that is raging and hating on me. And how can I detach everything that she is triggering inside of me in order to drop into being one?
Mm-hmm.
Pandora box. So
Mm-hmm.
can I look at you? And you know what I what I notice all my life actually, I look people in the mouth. I rarely look into your eyes because if I look into your mouth, by default, my mom is a dentist, so I always look into the
Uh,
beautiful teeth. So I in and the smile, I look into your mouth, and when I don't, I'm not personal with you. If I look into your eyes, then I become very naked and vulnerable. And
mm-hmm.
how they say the energy transfers here through the eyes, you can see in my eyes, do I lie? You can actually see my nakedness, my truth. You can recognize me more in the eye. So my default is going into the mouth. And
Mm.
it's very vulnerable to look someone into the eye.
Yeah, there's a story around safety here as you speak about it's almost like with an inanimate object, it's almost to just have stillness in your mind to be able to, because when I read this, I'm like, okay, carry on. I'm just gonna keep reading. But now that I've purged and we're to this serenity and calm, I'm like, okay, I can do this with an object. Um, and then to do it with another person, there's a level of safety and trust that enters in, that you could say. It's like, how much do you want to open yourself to? And when I
Hmm.
look you in the eye, there's the initial, which is easier, and then you stay with it and you linger. And then there's more, like you said, whether it's projecting out or whether it's something that is familiar that's coming up. But there's the deepest layer is not any history between us or any history that I imagine you have or any motive. Just you have to, it's the dropping of all. Yeah. I'm contemplating the word motive with emotion, like emotion is energy in motion, and then the motive is attachment, right? So it's like as I sit with you and ponder into your being and peer into your eyeball into and look beyond what's presented and just settle into who you are. It's interesting because when I don't have motive, when I release it, I can sense every emotion and the complexity, like this eros. It's like it's not only is it out there in this life, it also arises from your very being in each person. And we often don't feel safe enough to open ourselves up to that beautiful experience, or we become attached and we start to label and put expectations on another person for giving us that level of safety or the ability to trust someone. And it's like, I think we're entering into a new world where this is more understood, that um, this isn't like trauma inducing. It's not sexual in more than just nature itself being sexual in the eroticism of what life is. It's not the personal attachments we make to it.
I mean, so much to unpack here too. And first, the word sexual, in the meaning of it, is not what we think of it, rather than it's the play.
Yeah.
And if we were to change, we only can change the programmed meanings of something by giving it a different word. So we are way overdue to use a different verbiage for such a hard concepts that are very deep down programmed in us in a wrong way, in a toxic way.
Mm.
So what you mean by this is the eros not as the sexual energy rather than the life essence that is occurring and happening. And it comes in waves. It's spontaneity of it. It's innocence. I think this is why our poetry is so helpful to understand and open yourself up to a aesthetic beauty of life and living in a present moment, which is beautiful. It's actually a beautified occurrence of bliss and ecstasy and agony playing in a mixture of it. And we're lacking words for it because we have not developed any new words that are helpful and aesthetically beautiful. Rather, we're developing harsh words for reality.
Yeah.
And we hear them all the time. It's an input. Your dictionary in the head is limited with beautified words and softness. And, like we're really due for some new words, especially in English language. But what I wanted to say, yes. So the play of aliveness inside
Mm-hmm.
is experienced on not in the mind. It's experienced in the different parts of you. It can
Mm-hmm.
be astral, it can be aura, it can be energy. We don't know. Again, limited words. But something is occurring. And I think when it occurs, can you play with it? And can you not identify it? And the more
Mm-hmm.
you remember how I said, as long as we say goodbye, we're good to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because the goodbye of what is occurring is us learning how to allow new to come.
Yeah.
That becomes the new part of you that is getting actively birthed over and over again. The birthing of self is the dying of self, which is
Mm-hmm.
the same. The end of month is actually the beginning of the next one. And in that process, we are realizing that evolution continues regardless of our human force to stop it by attaching, 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 attaching. Wanting
Mm.
something that it's not even real. Because the
Yeah.
only thing that is real is what is occurring right now in the moment. And how much of a space can I open up for the occurrence of it? Can I be touched by the beauty of what is? And in that, what is? Possibilities are endless. Not only possibilities, my own potential is blooming like a flower slowly on the rays of life. Can life show me how good can it get? Can I stay curious for the space and allow it? Can I dedicate my parts of my day to day blind, my day to day programming? Can I dedicate the part of self where I sit in silence and allow life to happen and see what words come up? Poetry. See what music and tone comes up? Music. Symphony. Who plays what plays? I don't ever want to know. I wish I never to find out. And
Mm.
only if I don't find out
Yeah.
am I allowed to continue.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Too good. Too good. And
Too
then you
good.
ask, and then what? And then what? And then what? And then what? Right. That's why I was like, and then what? You reach, you get the wings, you get to the know everything. And then what? Don't you want to not know everything? It's the
Yeah.
temptation. Sorry, I'm on a rampant right now, but
No,
it's the
please.
temptation to stay desiring and never get to that desire. It's the temptation, it's an invitation to be tempted, to desire life itself
Mm.
as a surprise box. The desire to taste the chocolate that you see is brown, but yet it tastes like strawberry. Surprise me, surprise me, be my guest.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. It's so good. I was just reflecting. I'm like, most people do podcasts and they present out to the world, but it feels like what we're doing is you and I are unraveling so that when we're in the world, we're in a better state, we're more connected. And it's like this weird, you and I said like we're doing it for ourselves. We have this very private approach to something that's public, and we live in the paradox. It's beautiful because
Yeah,
if we didn't make it public, we might not have reached to the depth because
true.
it pulls something out in you and evokes something. Um, but yeah, when I more and more I feel now like this comfortability in the unknown and this recognition, this deeper recognition that's occurring somewhere in my being. I can't quite place it because it potentially is always moving, or it's moving me, or I'm moving. That this eros is present when I'm in that headspace. in that letting go. And it's ironic because, or paradoxical, because more than anything I wanted to do, I wanted to astral travel. I wanted to lucid dream. More than anything, I wanted to, you name it. Like we have different desires that linger with us and trap us. But now when I reflect on these states of letting go into the unknown and being comfortable with it, it's it is bliss. And there's, according to my experience, not anything beyond bliss. It is the state of unification, of purity. And in that there's no the desire itself falls. It's a distant memory. In It's like recalling it is difficult in those states. So it's like it's funny now reflecting because even an hour ago, I see myself as a dream, as like, who was that guy? What was I saying?
Yes.
Because you brought me on this path of like, oh, what is it? What had you so trapped in that desire and, you know, the realization I just want to push on this button when we both teared up when we realized like it's fear to experience more than we could possibly know. And I just want to like do that for myself moving forward to say it's fear. Like when you feel, Eric, when you feel a desire so strong that you must achieve it and all else doesn't matter until it's achieved. Remember that it's fear driving that force, and it's driving you away from bliss and beauty and this profound truth that's always under the surface. Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Right.
Rightfully so. Because you will know when you're ready to stay there longer. But only you know when you get ready. And to get that, you have to stretch your rubber band a little bit more, a little bit more, take on larger space, try it again, try it again, try it again. I think this is the practice of expansion, expanding your space to allow until you expand so much that you realize the space is you, you are the space, you are the desire.
Yeah.
And you see, so until there's a play to play, the life continues.
Yeah.
And it's fun to
Yes.
get caught and wrapped into a human world,
Well,
and
well, interesting because doesn't feel very fun in the moment, but after, yeah, it's the and that's like the orgasm, right? It's like the release of all the tension and that, yeah.
yeah, I find myself putting an effort to come back into the pain of being human.
Yeah.
Because I'm too much there. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't pay the bills. True. I have to go back and actually come back into the life, into this 3D and really get some suffering. And then I go back and I was like, well, let me add a little bit more. Let me go back and reminisce about the times when I made a
Yeah.
mistake,
Yeah.
when I'm so nostalgic, when I dealt with loss and grief and want that, which no longer exists. Let's just add.
Mhm.
No, no, I'm not joking. This is now so real and possible. This space of bliss that you and I are entering into, that now I crave it so much. And that crave itself becomes very addictive because you want to disappear. And for
Yeah.
me not to disappear, because I'm very much alive, I have to pull myself back into the suffering. And now I'm like, okay, let me suffer a little bit more. What a trick. It's like, holy
Yeah.
shit, I am activating my suffering in the 3D life just so that I can,
Yeah,
live a little longer.
Your Neptune is pulling you.
Yeah, just so that I can live a little longer and I can live in this temptation or urge to merge with something that I don't know. And I'm
Hmm.
actively growing this part of me, which is becoming me. And, but wait a minute. So now what used to be the effort to get to is now reversing its roles. Now I'm in effort to come back into the fears of being alive in human body.
Mm. Yeah. I sense a metaphor here around breath, uh, where inhalation is us achieving, desiring, pushing 3D, and then this exhalation is this letting go and allowing and accessing these states of bliss and epiphanies that occur in
Yeah.
exhale, and that, or in like the voice finally releasing repression and being suppressed and calling out to the cosmos with ecstasy and and but it's inhale exhale, right? It's a pulsation. It's the duality itself which gives us the ability to exhale further, to let go deeper, to touch the edges. And then, if you never inhale, then you die. So perhaps it's valid for us to have this pulsation and this, the diaphragm flexes. It's not meant to just expand exponentially, um,
Not yet.
until we're ready, right?
Yeah. Until we're ready. And then you know that you're prepping for it. What's to come? Because you know this now is becoming part of you that is very much alive, that you can never go back to say no to anymore. It is pulling you and making you.
Mhm.
So now this part of you that you just experienced and recognized is creating you too.
Right. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to put it.
And then while it's creating you and you're laughing at it, your eyes become watery. Then you see the stars and you're laughing on the rain that used to irritate you so much back in the day. But now
Mhm.
it's becoming so, and now you're becoming this, which meets the other. And that other that stands in front of you can't help but laugh with you too. Feels calm and peaceful, right? Because you're
Mhm.
radiating this, what you're realizing slowly. And no matter what anger comes in front of you, it falls on its knees. It the armors everything. This is why if you were to stand in front of Buddha, you would feel his bliss and you would just de-armor yourself for a tiny little experience of it, tiny little experience. But after that, you go back to this 3D life and you're getting pulled into the vortex of anger and fears and everything. So, really, our part of work, how I understand, is growing the capacity to come back and be tempted towards that of nothingness, towards the bliss, towards that power, and growing that capacity to hold yourself in your own power more and more,
Mhm. Mhm.
which then makes this life of fear less and less, or equally powerful. Maybe it doesn't matter. At that point, it actually doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
Hmm.
Oh my God. Wow. See, I have to come back because, like, I have to come back because this is too good.
Just remember, inhale, exhale. It's like you catch yourself inhaling. You're like, hmm. Oh, I just had to exhale again. Okay. It's very simple. It's always the simplest thing we could possibly do. And that's part of the paradox, part of the trap.
Yeah, easy said than done,
Yeah.
right? Inhale, exhale, it's just two words and such a huge technique. But the discovery of what that entails for you is unique to you and
Hmm.
your journey, and it will change over and over again.
Hmm.
Wow,
Beautiful.
this was so good.
Yeah. It was so
Oh my
good.
God, this was really good.
Unexpected. When I was going down the rabbit hole, I'm like, we should name this episode something different because this is not really talking about the techniques. But of course, in looking back at the three techniques, we touched beautifully on each of them. And it wasn't us. It was like this transmission occurring through, yeah, experience.
So good. And the
Much love
planets are
to
in
you.
our favor.
Yeah, right, right, right.
Oh, yes. All this, but yeah. Yes.
Yeah, one more week.
Oh,
8 days, 9 days. Saturn. It's been
well, one
raining
more week.
here. It's been
Oh,
like downpouring. It's been, yeah,
so you're
in,
stuck in the house.
yeah, emotions and water, the last exhale potentially. Of course, water
Hmm.
continues. The energies are just shifting. It's not like it's an ending completely, but I recognize
So
that this the aneretic is powerful.
one more week and it's your solar return. Two more weeks and it's mine.
Hmm.
Let's box life.
Yeah. Much love.
Yeah.